right, Donald Trump is vowing a reciprocal tax on goods imported from other countries. You remember he's made this threat in the past, particularly on the campaign trail when he was campaigning to be president. But he also made these comments as well after revealing the budget. A lot of people are saying that this could cost the taxpayers another $7 billion. All right, so Peter Chun, managing partner of Silverbear Capital, joins us live now. So here's my question about this. We've heard Donald Trump talk about this idea of some kind of reciprocal trade tax in the past. Is this an empty threat, do you think, or do you think we'll actually end up seeing some form of this at some point in the future?
Well, actually, from a lot of people from China had been waiting for this to happen, and whether this would happen in the right manner, we don't know, because up to today, the president's office has not reviewed the structure of the tax that he is trying to propose. So we have no way to understand or even to articulate what he is aiming for, because what he said in his statement was actually he's going to levy this tax even with his U.S. allies.
Mm-hmm. So, do you have any fears of any kind of trade war if this ends up happening?
Well, actually, no, because at the start, remember the spirit of WTO, which actually was led by the U.S. Superpower in the beginning, whereby everybody thinks that this no trade war is going to be the best status for the whole world. And since then, the U.S. has been leading this WTO in such a direction whereby everybody was really happy about it. Now, until now, U.S. decided that this is no longer going to be the spirit. I think this is going to break down the whole history of WTO, which everybody had put a lot of effort together.
Yeah, what's interesting, though, is that China is, of course, a U.S. ally, and the U.S. really, now more than ever, the U.S. needs China because of what is happening with North Korea. They sort of see China as a partner in terms of getting North Korea, some might say it's a pipe dream, but somehow to curb their nuclear program. If this sort of reciprocal trade tariff ends up happening, what would happen to U.S.-China relations?
Well, first of all, China is going to probably be unwillingly to accept this, but I think heartily they see a follow-up problem with the U.S. because if there is a heavy tariff on Chinese product going into U.S., this leads to a lower return for most U.S. companies on their profitability and therefore paying less tax. So it goes round and round in circle. And China is going to probably say, hey, how long can you last?
Let's talk a little bit about U.S. markets right now, because we are seeing a lot of volatility. Guys, if we could just pull up what's happening in the markets today on the screen so I can see. Last time I checked, it's still roughly around down 80 points or so. What do you make of that, especially given the context of the rally we saw both on Monday and on Friday? I believe we had the largest two-day point gain in about 2 years, since 2016, and now that market rally seems to have snapped. Is volatility basically the new normal at this point?
Well, I think the volatility is going to continue a little bit, but I think as again, everybody was setting too high of a target in the beginning with most of the company stocks. And what we view from Hong Kong and China is that this is not a adjustment yet. We think it's going to settle down very quickly, probably within the next 10 days. And I think it's going to go back to where it was, but not exactly as high. And I don't think there is any panic, psychological problems over in the Asia side yet.
Okay. Let's talk about Macau and the sort of gambling casino world, because we know that American companies are investing heavily in Macau. How much money from the U.S. is pouring into Macau right now in terms of building casinos, and how is China responding to that sort of economic threat?
Well, the interesting thing is NVM new hotel has been delayed probably more than 4 times in the past. When the project was going to go ahead, it received certain delay from the Macau government with regards to the licensing. Now, the interesting thing is the whole hotel cost probably $3.4 billion.